When my son was 6 weeks old, they disowned me, put me out with a 6-week-old baby, $90, told me no good man would ever want me. I'd be working the streets in 6 months. I think I was in my 40s when I figured that stuff out and when I quit letting people damage me. So I tell people I've been in sales since my first box of Girl Scout cookies. It was just that. I discovered, though, that sales was my natural language in high school. Back in the 80s, getting my first management positions, this face was not the expected face. So at that point, I was considered too young. I was always a little bit too dark. I was never a size 2, but I learned very quickly that when you make them money, they overlook everything.
In this powerful episode of Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Proud, Dr. Donna Smith Bellinger shares her incredible journey from overcoming personal hardships to becoming a top sales strategist and business mentor, from selling Girl Scout cookies as a teen to co-founding a tech firm and helping entrepreneurs master relationship-driven sales. Donna reveals the mindset, grit, and resilience it takes to succeed. She also dives into life lessons on forgiveness, financial literacy, and managing your own economy. If you're ready to turn obstacles into opportunities and level up your life and career, this episode is a must-watch. Join me.
And one more thing before we get started, y'all. Can you subscribe to my podcast and leave a review? Can you like on social media and share an episode or two? Thank you. Hey, everybody. Welcome to my podcast, Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Proud. I'm so excited about our guest today, Dr. Donna Smith Bellinger. Did I say that correctly?
Bellinger.
Okay, Dr. Donna Smith Bellinger, a powerhouse in the world of sales strategy and business development. She's transformed entrepreneurs, executives, and small business owners from best-kept secrets into highly visible, highly paid authorities in their industry, and specializes in teaching professionals how to create consistent revenue by mastering relationship-driven sales conversations. Dr. Donna's corporate background combined with her entrepreneurial journey gives her a unique edge in guiding clients through the maze of growth, leadership, and profitability. She's a published author, a sought-after speaker, and a trusted advisor to organizations looking to energize their teams and their bottom lines. Her philosophy is simple but powerful. Sales is not about waiting and seeing. It's about leading and closing. Welcome, Dr. Bellinger.
Hey, how are you, Shannon? So good to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. That was a really good introduction, by the way. After the first paragraph, I was like, I think I need your help. So I think some of the things that you're going to offer to my audience today are going to be very helpful. So we're all going to learn here together. I guess I would like to start with how you came to the notion of being a salesperson, because that's a conversation, being good in sales, and then training other people to be good in sales. I think that's something that people kind of shy away from a lot.
Mm-hmm. They do. They have a mental block when it comes to sales. And a lot of us think of sales as being pushy, sleazy, not appealing. Maybe we think it's manipulative. We've all felt hustled at one point in time in a transaction. And that's really not what sales is. So I tell people I've been in sales since my first box of Girl Scout cookies. It was just that. I discovered, though, that sales was my natural language in high school when I took a part-time job and I was selling magazine subscriptions over the phone. And that was back when they would just give you a list of phone numbers and you would call and go, "Hi, may I speak to the lady of the house, the man of the house?" And then you had to create a conversation around that. And I just discovered that it was a matter of tapping into that individual's challenge and being able to present your solution in the way that they listen and tell you that they process that particular challenge. So, for instance, if I was talking to a woman and I was like, oh my God, did I catch you while you're trying to do dinner? Yeah, I'm sorry. Are you cooking the same old thing or are you trying something different? That kind of a thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm just whipping up a little. Well, Better Homes and Gardens has a whole new series on blah, 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 blah. There it went.
I bet you sold that subscription.
I actually, as a high school kid, was out selling the adults that were on the team. It was really kind of fun. I had my first child right out of high school. I came from an upper middle class type family, a suburban family. When my son was 6 weeks old, they disowned me, put me out with a 6 week old baby, $90, told me no good man would ever want me. I'd be working the streets in 6 months. Within 2 years, I was out earning my father. I had the company car, I had the company credit card, and all I had was a high school diploma. I was that school's first assistant admissions director. And I stayed in that industry for over a decade, working for a variety of different schools.
Oh
And
my, wait.
what?
Wait. Like your parents put you out with
Oh, yeah.
$90 and a 6-week-old baby?
Yeah, yeah. And it's okay. Everything I went through then made me who I am now. It makes me much more approachable. I have a better connection with the people that I work with. When they try and tell me the poor me stories, I'm like, honey, look, I wish I could tell you you were important enough that the universe had a bullseye on your back, but you're not. So what are we going to do about it?
Mm-hmm. But
Okay.
talk about really pulling yourself up from your own
Yeah.
bootstraps. I mean,
There's a wonderful
wow.
person that I met, and he has a saying that I have adopted. And he says, well, Donna, actually, what you did was you took the stupid pill. And I was like, what's the stupid pill? He says, you were too stupid to know you shouldn't be able to do it. So you did. I was like, oh, okay. I received that. I can work with that.
I mean,
So,
it's just a matter of survival.
yeah, I mean, I went to private schools. I went to Europe in high school. I mean, I had a pretty privileged life. And I was determined that my son and then later my daughter would have the same benefits that I had. And so I worked as hard as I needed to. Um, and for those of you who think, oh, well, she had it made or whatever, no, I didn't. My business life was stellar. My personal life was crap. So just remember that, you got two sides to the coin. And when I'm working with my people, I work with them not only on the business side, but also on making sure that they have the mindset to manage both sides of the coin because one bleeds over into the other. Eventually, I moved over into corporate sales leadership and I worked with a variety of tech companies. I wound up co-founding a tech firm that specialized in data security. I worked with a lot of economic development organizations. I'm in Chicago, the mayor's office on gang relations, all kinds of things like that, because I wanted to show people the things that I wish I had known way back when. And when I got into what I call my middle earlies, which is all this little snow you see on the rooftop here, I wanted to do more working with individuals, again, to help them to create their own economy, because that's what's most important now. We have to take care of self. And I knew this even before all this other foolishness was going on. You have to be able to manage your own economy so that you can take care of the people who depend on you and maintain your sanity while you're doing it. So that's what
Yeah.
I do for my people. And so I am a fractional sales manager. I also, like I said, work with a variety of organizations. I love working with small and owner operated businesses. I love that because small businesses create the most opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that now, particularly now, your own economy is disturbing, pretty disturbing for a lot of people at this point in their lives. I see a lot of that trending on TikTok with people having difficulty managing their own economy with not being able to find a job, not being able to pay rent. This girl today was saying that her battery was down on her car. She was able to get that fixed, but when she went back outside, now she has a boot on her car, and people trying to find jobs. So, what would you say to those who are having some challenges managing their own economy at this time?
One of the biggest challenges I had was I was not financially literate. So I didn't know how to manage the money that I was earning. You must realize that the benefits that you have with your company, whether it's insurance, health insurance, life insurance, whatever, when you leave that job, you're leaving that stuff there. If you're going to manage your own economy, find yourself a financial advisor. Know who your banker is, not the teller, a banker. Figure out how to protect your assets, or as I like to put it, make your money work as hard for you as you did to acquire it. That
Mm-hmm.
is just very, very important. And secondly, don't be too humble. I mean, well, no, not too humble. How do I want to put this? Don't let your ego get in the way of the hustle. So
Mm-hmm.
when I say that, it's like when it got to be Christmas and I saw that I was short on some things, I would sew for people. I would bake cookies for people. I would run errands for them. I would make phone calls. I would do whatever it was I needed to do to bring in what I needed to bring in to provide for my family. Okay, that was what was most important to me. And because I have that been there, done that factor, you know, even though there have been times when I've made a whole lot of money and then I've lost a whole lot of money. And so you just need to educate yourself so that you can be in control of this. And be very, very clear on what you do and what you don't. There are two exercises that I do with all of my clients. The first is make a list of everything that you know how to do. I mean, everything. If you're a house cleaner, if you're a car mechanic, if it, whatever it is, if you're good at accounting, if you like to read to children, whatever, make this 30, 40, 50 item list and then cross off the stuff you never want to do again.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a focus point. Now you have a focus point. So how can I leverage these things that I don't mind doing? My daughter came to me when she was in high school and she said the class is going to Paris for a month and I need X number of dollars by this particular date. And I gave her the look that a lot of parents give their kids, which isn't exactly how long have you known about this?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, well, we knew a couple months ago, but I love this. I was waiting to see who else was going.
Okay.
Okay. So anytime I ran into a situation like that, what I would do is grab a job that I could do almost in my sleep. And so typically for me, that's working in a call center. Call centers are always looking for people. And if you're articulate, you know how to work on the phone, if you know how to, manage conversations, they're nothing. They're absolutely nothing. If you don't get upset when people tell you no, why? They can't see me. I can go and then hang up the phone. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter.
Mm-hmm.
So I can work in call centers in a heartbeat. And as soon as I got that young lady on the airplane, I came back, cleared off my desk. They were like, oh, but we have another project. Congratulations. But don't you want to? No, I don't. But you would be really great. Yes, I would. No, thank you. Because you always have to know what your exit is going to be also.
Mm-hmm.
Any position, any assignment, whatever you do, know what you want that job to do for you. Interview those people as much as they're interviewing you. What can I
Yeah.
learn? What can I take away? where do I want to go when I leave here? Because young people now don't stay for 40 years and get to watch and walk away. So what do you need to learn? What are the experiences, that you can take away with you? And that's what you want to focus on.
I think, I tell people when they're interviewed, I'm like, you interview them. Like, do you
Mhm.
want to work for them? Not are they going to pick me, but are you going to pick them? And if you go
Exactly.
in there thinking, am I going to pick them? You come in with a completely different, persona instead of one of, oh, I hope they choose me. I hope I go to the next round. I
Yeah.
think that
Now,
really flips the script.
it totally does because there's a level of confidence. And if your confidence scares them, and we've all seen that, then this is not a person who's going to help you grow.
Yeah. And how did you obtain your confidence?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I think that it had to do with the fact that I had to take care of my kids, number one. Number two, when I was back in the 80s, getting my first management positions, this face was not the expected face. So at that point, I was considered too young. I was always a little bit too dark. I was never a size two, but I learned very quickly that when you make them money, they overlook everything. So I
Mm.
was always a top performer. And because of all of this packaging that I had, I would often be ignored in a room, which meant I was privy to things that I probably shouldn't have known, which is wonderful.
Yeah, you worked
And
that to your advantage.
of course, of course. And so, and I also knew that if I was making them money, then I was valuable to them. And I never let them downplay my value. If they began to devalue what I was bringing to them, I knew it was time for me to go because they weren't paying me enough to get sick. They weren't paying me enough to get stressed. I could always just go off and find something else. You and I are both women of faith. So I'm going to tell you what I had to tell one guy that I worked for. I told him, the Lord is my source and my supply. You were simply the tool. Yes, I called him a tool. You were simply the tool that the Lord is using right now to meet my needs. They were met before you, they'll be met after you. And he gave me this very blank look, and he had nothing. He had nothing. I was like,
How do you come back from that? What type of answer do you give for that? But so, like, if someone was trying to shrink you, instead of trying to like stand up and claim your voice, you're like, it's time for me to go. I got to go somewhere
I
where
would
they're
claim
not.
my voice. I had um, many a spirited conversation with managers and also with some of my team members. But I mean, I was always the I can show you better than I can tell you person. When you and I had our first conversation, I told you I walked into a management meeting. At one particular point in time, I was the only woman. I was the youngest person in the room. I was the only person of color. And one of my peers looked at me as I came in the room and said, "Oh, you sure must be good at what you do because they did not hire you for your looks." And I froze. I absolutely froze. It threw me off for the entire meeting. Um, and when I went back, I was in Oklahoma City. At that time, my office was in Wichita, Kansas. When I got back to Wichita and I kind of pondered it, and then when I went into the office the next day and I gathered my team and had to give them the debrief of that particular regional meeting, and I told a couple of them in confidence what this person has said, they made it a point to check that team's numbers and beat them every single month. They put in the time, they put in the work, and they made it happen. It was a matter of pride. And it was a matter of pride, not just for the team, but also the way they respected me. And again, I had an all male team and I was the only one. But when you earn the respect of the people that you lead by valuing them, training them, showing them how to move forward. I have a talk that I do called How to Lead While You're Learning. And so it's so important that you build that trust and that respect with the people that you are working with without drinking the Kool-Aid of, "Oh, aren't I wonderful?" That's not what you're trying to do. You want to be that transparent person that they know they can depend on. You want to be authentic, and you must always be in alignment with your values. I told you, Shannon, that my family is African American, Italian, Irish, Mexican, and LGBTQ plus. That's my family. And I'm talking about, me, my in-laws, my grandchildren, everybody. This is how we are. And it makes for very interesting conversations. And people who don't get it or don't want it don't have to be in my space. I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that. That's their choice.
Yeah.
But when I'm working with individuals, I look at them for the values that they bring to the table, the talent that they bring to the table. And if I can help them to grow and become clear and take care of the people who depend on them, then I've done my job.
Absolutely. What would you say is a misconception that people might have about you?
About me,
Mm-hmm.
I think that some people think I've always been this way, that I've always been totally confident. I've always been, this business person, and I haven't. There is a crawl, walk, run to growth. And as you are growing, whether it's in your personal life or in your career, there comes a point in each stage when you realize what serves you and what doesn't serve you. And having the strength to walk away from what doesn't serve you is growth.
That is growth. And that's courage too,
But that
really
that
is.
that's what you have to recognize when it doesn't serve you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to walk away from it. You
Yeah.
must. And also consider, what is the legacy that you want to leave to the people who follow you, for your children, your nieces, your nephews, your cousin, your community. When you go, I told a friend of mine once, I said, when you go, do you want them to say, "Hey, you gave the best parties"? Or do you want them to say you made a difference? How do
Yeah,
you want to be viewed in retrospect?
absolutely. So what's being proud mean to you?
Um, Being proud to me is knowing that I made a difference. I think that that's the most important thing to me. My grandmother had a song she used to sing, and the lyrics went, "If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in
Be
vain."
in vain. Yep.
So, as a cancer survivor, having survived homelessness, a lot of other little bugaboos that I'm not going to talk about, I could have been a statistic. I made the conscious choice not to be. And I took the necessary steps not to be. Did I make mistakes? Oh, I'm telling you, I could write a book. Maybe I will one day. But you have to learn. Every life is all about lessons. And then helping other people not make the same mistakes. I told my daughter once, a long time ago, I said, "I have a PhD from Don't Let This Happen to You University. So see what I'm doing and don't do it."
Love them. People want to work with you or get in touch with you. What's the best way?
The best way is just find me on LinkedIn. Donna Smith Bellinger on LinkedIn. You can see videos that I have done. You can find out about my services. I speak. I'm a fractional sales manager, and that's where I'm at. So just
All
join
right.
me there.
All right. Keep being fabulous, everybody. Thank you for joining me today, Dr. Bellinger.
Thank you, Shannon. Bye-bye.
Bye.